Hey, Xiomy here. So today I wanted to do a book talk on Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. Now, this book destroyed me mentally and I loved it. I just loved how you have these bittersweet moments. You have these moments where you're just laughing out loud, and then you have these moments that you're just sobbing. And I had to stop at certain points in the book because I was crying so much that I couldn't even see the letters, and I just had to, take a breather, stop, and just, continue, because I really wanted to do a book talk because this book did destroy me on such an emotional level, and I wanted to release all these emotions that I'm feeling because it was such a lovely book. I did enjoy this contemporary and how it's paced out, the introduction of other points of view, because you do have Louise, and even though she is your main character, you do get other points of view, and I really did enjoy that these points of views were being brought into the story because you related to these characters and they weren't just filling a spot in the book. They were there for a reason, and you can understand what they were going through, and I really did enjoy that aspect and the fact that they were being brought into the story to serve a purpose. Louise, her quirkiness, her uniqueness is so individualized, and I love it, and she was just so different as a character. Her quirkiness is what sets her apart, and the way she dresses. And you do have Louise, and basically Louise is a person who accepts or who conforms to the norm of society. She has a boyfriend. Okay, she has a boyfriend, whether she loves him or not, we don't know. She doesn't care. Basically, she has a boyfriend, so that's all she likes. She has a job. Perfect. She has a job. She has money that's coming in. She has a job. She doesn't care about anything else. So basically she conforms to society's norm, and she accepts everything that has. But I really did love when she lost her job, because when she lost her job, she was just thrusted into this world where she had to basically look for another job. And I was glad that she took the job of being a caretaker for Will, because Will as a person, he did change her life in such a positive and such a sad way also. He did bestow upon her a lot of grief, but he also did change her mindset and how she visualized things, and also how she visualized herself within this world. And I thought that was something that was very spectacular to have in this book. You have this person who's set on dying, but who basically changed her life completely. Sometimes you think it's the other way around, and even though in this case it is vice versa, both of them did change each other's lives. But I did love Louise's storyline, and also when something happened to her, and I was like, for her, in order to dress the way she dresses and for her to be the way she is, something does really happen in her life, and it was so sad to read about it, because you do have it mentioned a little bit in the story, and then you have that like shroud of cloud that's mingling through there, and then a little bit further on you get to know what really happened to her. A lot more is explained, and it was really sad to read about it, but I really did enjoy that aspect of reading about it, because you got to know Louise even more in depth as a character. And then you have Will. Will is a person who's he was a traveler. He's a businessman. He went to a lot of places. He never depended on anybody, and then all of a sudden being in this motor accident and being dependent on people is something it should be awful, because he had limited mobility in one hand, so he was a quadriplegic, and she basically came into his life to take care of him. But she did change his life, because you do know throughout the story, and when he does mention it nearly towards the end, oh my god, the ending was something that just shattered me completely, and it was just so sad. I mean, even though she did think that she was changing his mind, she really wasn't, because he was set out and he already knew what he wanted out of life. He didn't want it to continue to be a burden in somebody else's life. I can't put myself in that situation and say that it's wrong, it shouldn't be done, because I as a person wouldn't like to suffer on my deathbed, and I wouldn't like to be depending on someone. I'm very independent, so a lot of the fact, I do understand a lot of this book. That's why I say that it is relatable, because I wouldn't know what to say in that situation. You also have other points of view in this book, and I really did love those aspects that were being thrown in, because you have Camila, and Camila is Will's mother, so you get to know her point of view. Why was it that she actually accepted him in saying those things that he said, as ending his life, being euthanized, and you feel for her. And then you have Steve's point of view, a man I didn't care for at all. I mean, if you don't love somebody, just leave them. You don't have to cheat on that person, and it is stated that it has happened more than once. I can continue going on and on with him for the rest of my life, but I'm just gonna stop on him. Then we have Nathan, and Nathan is Will's daily nurse, and I like that you got to see that point of view, because he has been with Will for 2 years, so he really does know him a lot, and like seeing how he's changing as a person, and how he was in the beginning and now how he is now, and he does accept his decision, but then again he also tries to help Louise changing Will's decision. So that's something that I thought that was very good to be thrown in there. And then you have Trina, or Katrina, Katrina is Louise's sister, and I really did love the introduction of her sister's point of view, because sometimes you have certain characters and they just have a flat line. You can't tell who's who because it's basically like everything is written the same, but in this case it's not, and I love that because you know you have Louise, who's just a quirky individual. She's happy, she's very optimistic in life, and then you have Trina, who's a person who's very strong as a female. She does have a son, but she also says that she lost her sensitivity chip, or she wasn't born with it, and unless she sees Tomas in those situations, she can't feel sorry or empathize with those people unless she thinks of Tomas in those perspectives or those points of view. And I really did love Trina's point of view. Did I think that she could have been a little bit more compassionate to her sister? A little bit, yeah, a little bit more, but nonetheless I really did love seeing these siblings interact because they were so different and so distinctive, and even though they went through an array of things, they still helped one another. They still helped one another throughout their lives, and I thought that that was something that was very beautiful to have, that sisterly love, you know, being thrown in the book. But nonetheless, this book gave me so many emotions. I loved the pacing. I loved Eloise as a character. Will just completely shattered me to the end. The ending was just so heartbreaking and so heartwarming, and you know it was just lovely, and specifically, you know, his will, everything that he left towards her, it was just such an emotional, bittersweet romance that I loved it. The writing was impeccable. It was a writing that I really haven't seen in a while, and because obviously I've never read anything from Jojo Moyes, and I thought that her writing was just brilliant and spectacular, and I can't wait to continue reading about Jojo Moyes. And this story, it just captivated me in so many ways, and I exhort you to read this book because this book is freaking amazing, and it'll destroy you on an emotional level, but it's something that I accepted. You know, I accepted to be destroyed from the beginning. Since I first started reading this book, I was like, I'm going to be destroyed emotionally, and you know what? I don't care. I'm gonna read it. But I really can't wait to watch the movie. I want to have a reason to cry for no apparent reason. I just want to go into the movies and just sob until the end without no pain being brought upon to myself. You know, am I a masochist? I think I am. I don't know. I don't care. But I do want to watch the movie and actually compare it to the book because the book was so lovely and I just enjoyed it so much. I don't know if you read this book and you want to let me know down below. You can. Feel free. Let's chit chat about it. Let's cry over it. Whatever you want. Let's gush over it. I don't know, whatever you want. I really did enjoy this book, and I hope that you enjoyed my little book talk. I want to thank you for watching, and until next time.